Hello, this is Elizabeth and Elton Brewington with Discover Brightside, a video podcast network. And yes, we are doing emotional intelligence this month. And the topic is prosperity. And I have in my studio today two amazing women that are making such a difference in people's lives. And Samantha has been a 9/11 survivor. You have to see the video of how she survived that traumatic experience and how she's turned that into giving it back to society with her new book. And I encourage everybody to get that book, Silver Linings, and it's a fantastic book. You can see our reviews on Amazon and make sure that you write a review for her when you buy the book. And now I have Erin Snow, who's doing something extraordinary, something we haven't seen on the show before. And I'm sure, Erin, you hear that a lot. So, Erin, share your story and tell us all about it.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for having me. It's nice to meet you, Elizabeth and Samantha. And I'm sorry, I don't know the gentleman's name.
Elton.
Elton.
Elton. Hi, nice to meet you, Elton. My name is Erin Snow. I'm located here in Seacoast, New Hampshire. I own Seacoast Listening Lounge, a professional listening service for women, but it's also a virtual service, so available wherever you are. My background's actually in legal. For nearly 17 years, I was working at the legal aid organization here in New Hampshire, advocating for low-income victims and survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking in their high lethality family law cases. So their divorce, their parenting, and their protective order cases. So the clients that I was working with were at significant risk of harm or even death by their intimate partner. And as I said, I did that work for nearly 17 years. I loved my work. The clients I worked with were amazing, strong, resilient. But one of the things that I would hear so often was, "Hey, Erin, nobody is listening to me. I'm telling my story and nobody is hearing me. I feel like I'm on a busy street and everybody's walking by me and I'm screaming and nobody is stopping, nobody's looking at me, nobody's hearing me." And that really resonated with me. I'm a survivor myself of childhood sexual abuse. I had experienced sexual abuse later in my life as well. Um, I didn't feel like I ever had a way or a safe way to talk about what to me. I was young. I didn't know how to talk about what happened to me. Um, and then later in life, I went through a divorce and again found myself in a situation where I didn't feel like I had anyone I could really talk to without judgment. And I was looking for that place and I couldn't find it. And it wasn't something where I felt like I needed therapy. I'm very pro therapy, but I needed a place to vent and let it out and not have anyone say, "Well, why didn't you do this?" or "Why didn't you do this?" I just didn't want that judgment. I just wanted a place where I could vent and let it out. And I couldn't find it. So last summer, I'm remarried and I was talking to my husband. I said, "Look, I think I want to create this space where I listen to women." And he's like, "I don't know if that's a thing, Erin." And I said, "Well, I'm going to make it a thing." And an idea that came about last June, I opened in August and I've been feeling my way through ever since. And it's been really an amazing journey. And the women that I have met and have had the extreme honor to listen to, it's incredible to hear their stories. Oh, I think you're on mute.
So, how does the listening thing work? Is it a Zoom? Is it a virtual platform? What is the platform?
So I have a physical office, so I will see people in person, but I'm also seeing people from all over the country. So I will do virtual appointments either through Google Meet or Zoom, whichever platform they prefer. And if video doesn't work, I'll do it over the phone as well.
Oh, that's awesome. And so you just sit there and listen to people. That's
Yeah,
amazing. How
yeah, people.
long how long do they talk? I mean, do you have time slots or how does it
Yeah.
work?
I do have time slots. So I have a 30-minute appointment, I have a 60-minute appointment. And people ask me, they're like, wait, so you just listen? Like that's all you do? And I'm like, yeah, if that's what they want, then, and some clients, that's literally all they want. They need a person who is just going to be present and engaged with them and fully zoned in on what they're experiencing and what they're talking about without anything else. And I will provide that. And I have other clients who say, hey, Erin, I want you to listen to me. Don't say anything for 15 minutes. And then the other 15 minutes, Erin, I really want you to engage in a conversation with me. I want to hear your thoughts. And I'm very clear, I'm not a therapist, I'm not diagnosing, there's none of that. I will not offer any feedback or advice unless they specifically ask me for that. But it really does run the spectrum. I've had clients who asked me to listen, and I listened to them for 2 hours. 2 hours, and that's what they needed. They needed that space to let it out. And at the end, they're like, oh my gosh, they're visibly breathing. Like, I didn't know I needed this. I didn't get this at first, but now I totally get this. And this gift of listening is just like, I didn't know what to expect, but it meant everything to me. And that means everything to me that I'm able to create that space for them.
Oh my God, I love it. I really love what you're doing. Now, do you charge people or how does it work?
Yep, I do charge people. So I have session prices for virtual appointments, which are a little bit cheaper. And then obviously there's a difference between the 30-minute appointment and a 60-minute appointment. But I come from a legal aid background.
Yeah.
And so obviously this is something that I want to be accessible to as many people as possible. So I started Walk-in Wednesdays, and that's for people who are obviously local, who want to travel. And you can drop in for 20-minute mini vent sessions and it's pay whatever you want. And if that's $0 or that's in hot chocolate or a baked good, I'm here for it. That's great. And then I also started a sponsorship program for businesses because a lot of the women that are coming to me because they're in a really difficult situation. They've lost a job, they're going through a divorce, they're caring for an elderly parent, and finances are tight. And why should we have to sacrifice our self-care when we're going through the most difficult times, right? So I'm going to be launching a sponsorship program where businesses can sponsor an hour-long listening session. And I will do advertising for them on my website and social media. So they get a shout out and then they know that they've sponsored a listening session for a person who otherwise wouldn't be able to afford it.
I love this. And now are there other listening rooms or are you the first?
So I couldn't find anything when I first started. I was looking around. I'm like, I can't find anything because I wanted to use the service. So I know that there are other models. I don't know how many. I've been connected with a woman in Canada, and we meet monthly to kind of talk about what she sees and what I see. And then the coolest thing is that somebody from Romania reached out to me and she said, I want to do this in Romania. I saw your website. This is something that I want to do. And so we meet now every month to talk about how can we exchange ideas? What is she seeing? Because this is a worldwide issue, right? Like listening, it's a basic, in my opinion, human need, a human want, and so it extends beyond the United States, and I love that we're able to communicate and talk about trends and how can we make this more accessible? How can we make this more widely known as an option for people? Because people have traditionally engaged in therapy and coaching is really big. And this is not to replace any of these things. It's my hope is it will complement those things, but that people know that this is an option for them. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Um, this is fascinating because Really, I mean, we've had so many people with domestic violence on this
Mm,
show and human trafficked. We
yeah.
have a woman, Betty, whose parents trafficked her, and her
Mm,
mother sat in the room next door and while
mm,
she was being raped. And so
ugh,
we've heard all these stories. And one of the biggest things that I hear from most, and Samantha, you can chime in on this, is that nobody believes the victim. You know, when the
mhm,
victim tells her story or his story, because now men are being abused as well,
mhm, mhm,
you know, no one believes them, and
mhm,
that is so hard, and no one wants to
mhm.
hear it. That's the other
Yes.
thing. You know, if you're a child and you go to tell your parents about it, they don't want to hear
Mhm,
about it. They,
mhm.
your sister's raped or whatever, she doesn't want to hear about it. So
Yep.
having a listening platform, I think is fantastic
Thank
because
you.
people can feel not judgment,
Mhm,
they're not being judged. It's a safe
mhm.
place, and keep a stack of Samantha's cards or therapists so you can
Yeah, I
say that, look,
do.
we've reached the
I
point where now I can refer you to a
yeah.
therapist that could see you. So yes, so Samantha, what do you think about this listening room?
Oh my God, what an incredible concept.
I
I am like
know.
so excited to meet you and I cannot wait to follow your journey on social media, Erin. I think what you're doing is phenomenal for so many reasons. Firstly, what you're doing, even though you're not calling it that, it's a form of narrative therapy. That personally is what has helped me heal in my counseling work. I also try to use narrative therapy with my clients. It's giving people the freedom and the space to tell their story in their own words without
Mhm,
anybody else coming in and influencing what their words are, what they're saying. And I just love that you're able to do that because narrative therapy is actually so cathartic and can help so many people move from a place of being in trauma to starting that healing journey. So I really commend what you're doing. It's incredible.
I
thank you.
I think
Thank
it's
you.
fantastic. Yeah, Elton is a great listener. I do all da 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 da. I'm talking all the time, and he's just listening. So Elton, as a listener, what do you think about this concept?
I think it's great. I think it also gives people an opportunity. Sometimes, well, there's healing that takes place in the transformation of information. And when you listen, people have a tendency to, they're healing themselves because
Mhm,
the emotions that they were feeling at the time of the trauma they can now express, consider, review, and dispense. Sometimes healing takes place with let it go. Just let it go. Let it go. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And so what that means is you heard me, and without judgment, of course. I mean,
mhm,
when people feel like they're being heard without judgment, it transforms the process that you've gone through and the trauma that you've gone through. And so
mm.
how to do that and but at the end of the day, the experience I don't know if it could actually just release it all together, but it can help with helping the other person get on the right road to healing, and
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, so it's a
Absolutely.
process that way. So
No, I think this is so fantastic. I don't know if you are able to come, both of you. We're doing a divorce and separation and widows at 7 p.m. tonight on the show. We have about 5 to 6 speakers, but I think if we could just test it out and ask these victims, what do they think about having a listening room? I think this is just amazing what you're doing, Erin. I've never
Thank you.
heard of this concept before, and you're probably one of the first to do it. And I know when hairdressers like have to sit there while they're being, doing your hair, and everybody tells you, the hairdresser, their whole
Right.
life story. I don't know
Right.
what it is about sitting on that chair, and you just go da 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 da, da, like so. Um, so
Yeah. Yeah.
Elton is a very good listener as well. So it takes an art to listen. Not everybody has the
Mm-hmm.
patience to listen to someone. And so I applaud you for what. How long have you been doing this?
So this business has been in place for a little over a year now. Like I said, the concept, I visualized this last June 2024, but I've been at least 20 years in the field of working with victims and survivors. I worked previously before my work at legal assistance here in New Hampshire. I worked in Rhode Island working with elder abuse victims. So many years of doing trauma-informed advocacy and building my empathetic listening skills and training. But some of it too is just my own personal lived experiences of how did I want to be heard in that moment? What did I need and what didn't I get? What would I have wanted? And that's not me projecting what I want onto my clients, but understanding that everyone has an individual want and need in that moment of how they need to be cared for, how they need to be listened to. And that's why I don't assume that. But I always ask at the beginning of every one of my sessions, how do you want me to listen to you today? How do you want me to listen to you? And people go, what? What is that question? Like I've never been asked that. I don't know. How do I want to be listened to? And then they're like, oh my gosh, I get it. Like, this is what I need, and feeling comfortable and safe and saying, this is what I need. And so, yeah, I do have the expertise from my professional experience and my training through all of that work, but also this lived experience that I'm like, I wish I had that. I wish this had happened. I would have loved this. And like knowing those questions that were in my head, that I ask those questions so I can make sure I can meet whoever I'm talking with in the place where they need to be in that moment.
Yeah.
So when they ask you that question, I mean, how do you mean? With judgment or without judgment?
Yeah, no
Like,
judgment, period.
Levels of
that's like
listening.
like your baked potato. You want cream cheese or without cheese?
You want
Uh,
music or no music? Yeah,
It's a buffet. It's a
yeah,
buffet of
it's a thing.
options.
It's a definitely a thing for sure. It's a thing. So yeah, so Samantha, Samantha, you've devoted your book to your grandmother, and
Mm.
I meant to ask you that question about that in your interview. So tell us a little bit about your grandmother. I'm just
My
switching it.
grandmother was the most incredible person I've ever met in my entire life. She passed away at 97 years old. I have never met anybody before who was able to have such a positive outlook on everything going on around them. For the last 5 years of her life, she was confined to a wheelchair. She had no ambulation. She was dependent on caregivers at her assisted living community, and then later she was moved to a full-on nursing home. She still, even after losing her mobility and being so dependent, was so positive and just so happy to be alive. And not only was she the most positive person I ever met, but she made people laugh. She had such an incredible sense of humor. Um, she loved her family, and she was just my North Star for so many years. So I had to dedicate my book to her.
and then
Was she a good listener?
You know, she was more of a talker. She had the gift of gab.
Yeah.
how
I
did your
love
mother
that.
respond to your experience?
What's that? I'm sorry.
How did your mother respond to your experiences?
Oh, my mom and I are best friends. When it first happened, she was teaching a class. She is a retired educator, a retired elementary school teacher. She was teaching her class and she just collapsed. She thought that I died when she heard that the towers were hit and so many people had passed away. And then it wasn't until later, 3 hours after, that she got word from a stranger. I'm not going to go into that whole story just now, but she heard that I was okay, and just relief flooded through her. And we enjoy life together. My mom was very close to my grandmother, and she is aging, as we all are. But my mom and I continue to make time every year. We take a trip together. We love traveling the world. We spend so much time together because we know that life is precious and can be gone instantaneously. Oh, you're on mute, Elizabeth.
Glad you're here with us today, and I'm glad that you survived and you wrote this book and that you gave back. And Erin, you are doing an amazing job with this listening. I can't tell you how wonderful it sounds. Um, so I want to thank you both for being on our show, and I want to tell you that you've been discovered. And then next month we're doing Veterans Day. We're going to do have veterans as well as business owners. And so I would love for you all to come on, and maybe we could do a group exercise of listening and see how that goes. I don't know. Maybe I have to talk to you, Erin, about how to do one of those things. But
Yeah.
I would love to see a reaction of how people feel about someone who doesn't comment on anything. You just talk. So this is amazing. So thank you for coming on our show, and viewers, tell us what you think. And if you do get Samantha's book, take a picture so that we know that you did it and that you wrote a review so that we know that the channel is working and that we have proof that you bought the book and that you wrote a review. So thank you for watching. And this is Elizabeth and Ailton on Discover Brightside.